All right, welcome to Gain Business. My name is Malik Lenzonzo. Today is another conversation with a businesswoman, somebody who's been on an international scene. Her name is Miss Kim Poole. Kim Poole is actually a soul fusion performance artist and a founding fellow of the Teaching Artists Institute, providing an opportunity for artists to learn techniques for social transformation while for social engagement art. Um, um, Today, the conversation we're going to have with Miss Paul it will be, about our experience being, like I said, performance, social transformation while fostering outlet for social engagement art operating in the United States, Ghana, Liberia, you know, Jamaica, Uganda, Tanzania, the Gambia through. So how you pronounce this is K Kim? What's the other T A I? How you say it?
Teaching Artists Institute.
All right. So we talk about the social transformation. She is like she said, teaching artistry in action curriculum and textbook to change agents and universities interesting in exploring arts possibilities under the institution umbrella. Paul served as chief visionary of the Artisan Conference
You
philosophy,
got it.
aimed on connecting sustainable development, art, culture, and an emerging economy. As a performer, Miss Poole has quietly become an international powerhouse with a regular headline performing on festivals, circus in Ghana and South Africa as a demonstration of art for transformation. She uses music, cultural narrative, power African woman. So today we will discover even more about our dear sister, Kim Paul. So welcome to the show, Miss Kim.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here with you today. Gan TV and
Absolutely.
me.
Absolutely. Well, since you now just the artist, you're also a businesswoman. So we're gonna just dive into it. I know your schedule is very you have your hands are full. You probably have all the stuff that's going on today. So without further ado, we're just gonna deep dive into the situation. Okay. All right. If you're joining us right now, let me remind you that we're here with the lovely Kim Poole. It's going to take us a little bit through experience of being the fusion performance artist. So tell the audience what this really means. What do you mean
Wow.
by
So
fusion performance artist? Can you tell us a little bit?
absolutely.
Okay.
So you said that I was not just an artist, but a businesswoman. But the truth is that in the music business, they're one in the same. And so originally, soul was the term used for anybody that wasn't a traditional mainstream pop artist. And so it was this really broad box. But for me, soul has kind of spoken to my value system, understanding my musical lineage and being intentional about preserving and promoting the art form from the lens of the some of the greats like Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, etc. And so that's the soul part. It's also the intentional acknowledgement of my grandmother, my grandmother's grandmother, and understanding that when you look at me and you look into my eyes and you hear my music, you're hearing the voice of my grandmother and my grandmother's grandmother. And to me, that's so important in an industry that teaches you how to be as cookie cutter and poster child as possible. And on the business side, our organization We understand that culture is the new currency. That's our
Mm,
motto. And so we understand how artists are business people because they help us to define reality. They help us to determine what is marketable. They help us to determine how messages should be communicated for civic engagement. How do we engage the people? Next month in my hometown of Baltimore, we're doing the State of the Black World Conference. And it's from April 19th through the 23rd. And they've asked me to host the Hip Hop Summit. And when I
mm.
think about hip hop, I think about big business. I think about an industry that has culturally appropriated and taken our ability to survive and heal as artists and packaged it into something that's being exported and imported around the world, paying the artist very little. And so when you ask me if I'm an artist, absolutely. But am I a businesswoman? Without question. I have no choice but to be both.
Excellent. Wow. Listen, you said something very, very interesting when you said that the culture is the new currency. You know, most of the untrained ears are people who not don't have the kind of culture and exposure that you have. Can you dig a little bit down, deep down into it, so that the younger people that just get into this show today, in the program today, understand exactly why it's so important to put a particular attention to a culture.
So culture is what I would say to the untrained ear, best practices. It's not exactly what we do. Yes, it includes the creative industries, the traditional art forms and mediums, how we trade and barter our creations and crafts and performance art, etc. It's that too. And but it's also very much innovative design thinking, creation, creativity in all its forms. And it is also the how. Best practices is how we do it, what is most effective, and also what is most appropriate. And when I say culture, let's be very clear. I'm talking about the total sum of what has been best promoted in African culture across region. Respect for humanity, respect for our understanding of nature, the rights of nature, right? Being in balance with the environment instead of exploiting it without end. Culture is the new currency, reminds us of our value system in economic empowerment. It reminds us that we're not capitalists. We're not looking to build entities that outlive human beings. We're not looking to build entities that are eventually monopolies, that encourage competition without consideration for the young people and how it affects them and the elder class. We're not looking to promote a worldview that isn't in balance with the world and its sustainability. And so all of these character traits, all of these virtues, so to speak, are we are reminded and reinforced by them in our culture. And so culture as a new currency, it helps us understand what is truly of value. And as artists of any type, because in the Teaching Artists Institute, art is not just singing. I sing, yes, but art is everything. And in the African worldview, we understood that. The griot, they weren't just storytellers, but they held the history of the village. They were walking, talking libraries vested in the promotion and preservation of our culture and lineage and communicating that to the next generation. Very different from the Hollywood or the Nollywood that we see now, story without cultural context or without connection to the upward mobility of our community sustainability. When I think about drummers, drummers are communication systems in the African worldview. In the village setting, they were an opportunity for us to acknowledge the transition of life when you move from elder to ancestor, or perhaps the birth of a new child. Even the dancers that dance to certain cadences, they did, for an example, the Dambala dance. And some days when I hear people talk about the dances that they do, or I watch hip hop music videos and I see girls dance, people call it twerking. Like, oh, look at her, she can twerk. But really, they don't know the cultural context of the dance, where it was encouraged for women to do this dance when preparing for childbirth, because it strengthened the walls of her uterus and was preparing her to bring life into the world. And so the Dimbala dance out of context looks like something that is profane, something that is somehow low vibration. But it's truly, in cultural context, a dance that every woman should learn. And
mm,
so culture is of value. It teaches us our history. It teaches us what is of value. It also helps us to better understand our role in the community's development. And that's where business owners are successful. You find a need in your community and fill it. You are now not in competition with anybody but yourself. And only your culture reminds you that you are the standard for your development. Your ancestors have laid a path for you. And so your job is to do better than the Nubians with those pyramids. Your job is to do better than the Egyptians. If you can top that, now you've truly created an institution in the world worth having. And so use this as your standard. It's also an understanding that this is not a zero-sum game. We are not Machiavellian politicians from Italy that believe that power only concedes to power, that there's not enough space at the table in the community for all of our businesses, for all of our initiatives to develop. So our culture helps us to understand balance, and that there is space at the table for all of our initiatives, and it's encouraged. And as the mother of civilization, I'm reminded of that, of my responsibility to set the standard for humanity. We're here this week, actually, right now, as we speak. I'm at the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women with my Global African Sheroes. And I think about how that manifested 8 years ago. It was my artist community saying, Kim, if you're encouraging us to connect art and art culture to sustainable development, where is your initiative? Where have you created, using your art, an impact in the community? And as a result of that, I founded the Shiro Sisterhood. And we are focused on the health and wellness of global African women. We exist to protect the economic, socio-political interests and upward mobility of women and their communities, not just the woman, but her community, because it's so important that we promote the African man as a part of our upward mobility, and the African child. The family is what creates the community, and the community is what creates a strong nation. And so we're here at the United Nations advocating those issues. And I think about the women looking around the room, and I'm like, wow, these are my trade partners. These are my business partners. They're my promotion campaign, my marketing campaign. When we say your network is your net worth, you have to ask yourself, who's going to support your product? Who's going to support your business? That's why culture is the new currency, because it teaches you that your community, the one you build and make deposits into, they are your customers. And so building a strong relationship with them is what ultimately is going to be a part of your success story. We, as Black women especially, can decide who the next millionaire is. We have, in the US alone, Black women, the largest buying power globally. If you aggregated the buying power of Black women in the US, we would be the 18th largest gross domestic product in the world. That means we would be competing with other economies if we only aggregated our wealth. We could decide who the next millionaire was. We could collectively decide to put somebody out of business by no longer supporting what they sell if they decided to attack Black women. Black women are the most abused women in the world. And so, as an artist and businesswoman, it's my job to create art that celebrates our beauty and resilience and creates a network to make the next Black woman millionaire if we so choose and decide.
absolutely. Listen, this is the length of so powerful concept and understanding that it will definitely take some years. This is not just happening overnight. Whatever you're saying, it's an expression of a lot of knowledge, studies, and like I said, exposure to different culture internationally. For young people that are watching this program today, what kind of uh, maybe advice you can give them as far as getting to the level where you are, a conscious woman, a black woman who's capable to understand where she came from and exactly where she's going, because without those two variable, I think it's very hard for. That's why people spin around without having any direction. And in order for you to know, to understand where you're going, you have to know where you come from. And I think that process have been clearly understood by you. So how, first of all, how you get into this position in terms of who are your first influencers, if I can use the term, people that actually open up this line of communication with your the motherland, and I can see you almost all over the place when you're on the continent. Who are the people that took you by hand, or even give you the a sense of your oneself, going to back to where everything came from? Can you tell us a little bit about all of that to make the Miss Kim Poole that you have become?
Wow. So I want to start by saying I didn't choose art. Art chose me. That I began this journey. I spoke when I was 3 years old. They thought I would be a mute because I wouldn't speak, but I would always sing. And that is in many ways how I communicated as a toddler. And my mother, she tells me these stories about my own development. Now they can't shut me up. They wish for those days when I wouldn't speak. And I just think about how important your community is to the story you tell yourself about yourself. And so, narrative, the stories that you believe about who you are, the stories that you understand about your potential, those ideals are shaped in your mind before you know who you are. And so, I want to emphasize the importance of our parents and grandparents because the song, I love it so much, John Mayer, fathers be good to your daughters, daughters will love like you do. Girls become mothers, and mothers be good to your daughters too. And honestly, the inferiority complex that keeps us from reaching our full potential is usually because in our minds we have a story, this story that's on repeat, us telling ourselves we aren't good enough, we don't have the capacity. And so what I tell young people is that my ability to find exposure to my art was, it started to begin when I realized I was enough, that it didn't matter if I was PhD such and such. How long are you going to go to school? I mean, you go for one degree to the next degree, you're spending money, you're in debt. And it's not that I'm not pushing education, because I am, but the world is your classroom. The world is your education. So I encourage people to have exposure, experiences, travel the world, learn for yourself, read books, but then go and do a hands on integrated cultural immersion so that you understand the world that you're reading about firsthand. What are you doing to build on the institutions and systems of knowledge that you were taught in school? You're going to fail. That's okay. Fail quickly so that you have time to recover, and fail often so that you learn often. So I want to give them permission to fail today. I want to give them encouragement to travel. I want to encourage them to learn from experience. And most importantly, to change the narrative. Any narrative around you that isn't encouraging your growth and development, supporting your expansion, encouraging you to be your best self, helping you to realize the vision, is not a part of the story, because your success story is going to include your failure as a tool of your development. And so I think it's about mindset. I honestly do, Malik. I think it's about how you see yourself and what you believe about yourself. That is ultimately the story that will change your life and become the foundation of your success.
Wow. I mean, listen, I can just listen to you all day. And one of the most ironic thing is the fact that you yourself, you come from Baltimore. and we know exactly the dynamic in Baltimore, in the city. It's what's going on. We last night I was watching the TV, and they're talking about maybe ninth young man that and probably a woman that been killed on I don't know for this year or for this month. That's too much. That's too much. And the reason why I believe that this kind of violence continue to occur in our community is because people don't have lost a sense of themselves. If you know you're a king, and you know your fellow black man is also a king, it will be hard for you to really do such a heinous act on or kill somebody that you know is honorable, made in God image. Do you have a sense of that kind of loss of we are, you living in Baltimore, you looking at what's going on around you, and for you to go from that particular place where a lot of negativity of talking about, when we talk about Baltimore, you come from that place and here you are on the global stage, continue to learning and impacting, going to you do you were and representing. I mean, what can you tell us on about your experience in relationship with where you come from in Baltimore, for example?
Well, I think you definitely laid the foundation for my response to that. Absolutely, we have an identity crisis. Our community, it's not homicide when we find the violence in our communities, young people killing young people, black people killing black people. It's suicide because we are suffering from the hate that hate produced. In our oppressive communities, you find us hating ourselves individually. And so that just spills out into the community. I hate you because I hate me. And honestly, the violence is just the byproduct of the oppressive system that we all collectively understand continually undermines our capacity and drains us, that drains us of our energy in order to function by design. Black people were the first stock on Wall Street. We've been in this country toiling and building and laboring for free. And we have never seen the benefits of our labor. We are an example of the original sin. They ask us, why is it violence in the Black community? From the most violent people in history, they asked us these questions. Before they began the war on Black people, historically, there was a war, Europeans fighting Europeans, the War of Roses in Europe. Before they enslaved Black people, they enslaved each other. You know, the people in Ireland and the people in the UK, they still fight to this day for their land and their land rights to this day. And that warlike people, that warlike mindset has infected us in the Black community in the US. We have begun to imitate our oppressor. And that combined with self-hate has honestly left us in dire straits. And our young people are the ones that suffer most of all. But our solution is in our culture. Our solution is in our identity, understanding that we, as the original human beings, are always at peace with nature and in balance. And it doesn't mean that we don't disagree. It doesn't mean that we won't fight. But in our culture, we find value for life. And so our disputes and our disagreements don't end in death. But when you live in an environment that doesn't value Black life, that doesn't value any life, this stolen land and stolen people cultivated resource, it is permeating in our communities through us all. And so we find solutions in art for social transformation. That's how hip hop began, our attempt to begin to heal from the inside out. And that healing is still beginning. Hip hop is 50 years old this year, and we are going to talk about it at the State of the Black World Conference in Baltimore. And these are the topics that we're going to explore. Gun violence. You know, they say we're going to tighten the gun laws to make sure that we're stopping violence. But the truth is that, you know, law-abiding citizens, they don't break gun laws. So I encourage every Black person to get a gun and protect your household and protect your family, even sometimes, unfortunately, from your brother that is sick. And so a lot of times we find in urban communities in Baltimore that people are victims to their circumstance. But 9 times out of 10, if you're not a part of the mayhem, it walks right past you. Black people aren't inherently violent. We're not violent people by nature. That is not who we are. So even in the hood of hood, they paint the picture like these communities are so violent. Baltimore is so dangerous, but people live there every day. They live their lives. And very seldomly do you find innocent bystanders as a part. It's people that are a part of the drug trade. It's people that are a part of gang violence. They're usually,
Just like
warring
any
on each
community.
other.
Yeah,
Say
I mean,
again?
you go everywhere, any country, you will see gang bangers, violence, criminals is everywhere. Except that sometime situation like in Baltimore is economic situation. People being forced, in that trap, and this that created a vicious circle that people cannot. It's very hard to get out of it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a quick break. When we come back, I'm gonna give you a chance to elaborate a little bit on that, but also to tell us about what kind of events is coming up in Baltimore, and
Okay.
and also what is any I mean, any advice for people that want to follow your steps, and what can they do if there's young people that want to really get out of this nonsense, how can they join the movement that you have started up, and possibly maybe you need some help in terms of helping those youngsters, and coaching them and helping them to show them the right way. Because I literally, you are one of the success story where good example, positive person. We're trying to do the best you can to bring some positivity in our community. So we're gonna take that quick break, like I said, and then when we come back, I'm just gonna let you run your mouth and tell us everything you know, because we would love to listen to you, Miss Kim. All right, so that'll be in the next few minutes to come.
Look, leading can be tough, and leading without support, limited resources, and inexperienced team, all while managing work-life balance, is even tougher. This is an exclusive opportunity for you to take full advantage of my years of leadership experience and glean from my mentors and all the work that I've done, the learning, the trials, the error, and the growth. You're joining an ecosystem of believers, leaders, thinkers, and doers who are here to support your dreams, celebrate your wins, and encourage your success.
Absolutely. Okay, so if you're joining us right now, you are on Gain Business, and our guest today is Okay, she's in the studio, back in the studio. We're here with my dear friend, is my dear sister, Kim Poole, was giving us some line of wisdom, but also telling us her experience coming from Baltimore and everything she have achieved. So you have Miss Kim, and tell us a little bit about when before we get take the took the break. I was telling you about how what's going on in Baltimore, what's coming up, when it comes to the events or stuff activity that you're trying to put on together, and also give us a perspective on how can we literally, some these youngsters, to keep them away from violence and illegal activities and all kind of stuff. So you go ahead.
Again, thank you for the opportunity. The fact that you have this platform, it's really a part of the solution. We don't tell our own stories. And so you, Malik, even with GAN TV, giving us opportunities to shape the narrative, to get the information to the people, and to tell it our way without leaning bias or inherent, bias. It's a part of the reason that we're going to win. Ultimately, we're going to win, and we have to believe that. We have to believe that we can build sustainable institutions for our people. And that is why we started the Teaching Artists Institute 8 years ago, connecting artists and art culture to sustainable development, art as a tool for social transformation. And one thing that's really important to our mission is our ability to take history off the page. I understand that when we work with young people, I'm competing with video games, I'm competing with TikTok. And when I work with some of them, they're on their phone and we have to teach them eye contact because they're using their iPhone, right? And you say, hey, look up. Some of those things, those social cues that we believe are natural, are just human forms of expression. We are losing the ability to have conversations with our young people. We are losing them to a world that's moving on. And they say that a world that only celebrates the learned usually finds itself equipped for a world that no longer exists. It's the learner that inherits the future. So I understand that our young people have entitlement issues. We need that. I understand that our young people are, technologically proficient. We need that too. But our work with the Teaching Artists Institute is promoting and preserving the African identity and our history, making sure that they understand that as we progress, as we learn about technology, as we learn about the future, that we also celebrate the past. And we sing Kofa. We look at our past to help determine where our future should be going. Unless, or if we don't do that, then we will duplicate the same oppressive systems that have already put us in the situations where we are. And so for our young people, we remind them of our history. We use creative ways to do it. I'm okay with competing with TikTok. Listen, give me a chance to keep your attention. We curate experiences, not just in Baltimore, but around the world. Our organization works in 8 countries, 6 of which are on the continent of Africa. And so East and West, the tribalism that I see there, I know where my people get it from in my tribe in Baltimore. I see it. I see where the gangs come from. It's in us already. When a seed is planted, and it just, it has to be already there in you for it to grow. And so our young people, their gravitation to gangs and that culture, it is inherent. Because when I'm in Africa, I see the tribalism. They don't even vote for people unless it's somebody from the tribe. And so, but we have to ask ourselves, what is healthy for our future? And so culture as the new currency and taking history off the page is not only preserving and promoting what has been, but it's using the best lessons from that to determine what should be, being able to create new culture, deciding what traditions we need moving forward, and inviting our young people to those decision-making tables to let them know you're not just a leader of tomorrow, you're a leader today. How can we give you an opportunity to be a part of the community's development so that you can practice? As a performer, I know that there is no practice for the show. The only practice you have is on stage. So you get better at performing by performing. So our organization is encouraging young people to get on that stage earlier. Make sure that you're up there with the mic, know what to say, know the story, and then be a part of developing it. And so some of the upcoming opportunities we have to do that in Baltimore is the Underground Railroad excursion. We're taking history off the page in the Eastern Shore. One of my sheroes, Miss Harriet Tubman, who
Yeah, she's
emancipated.
from Maryland, right? She's a
She
Marylander.
is from Maryland. Yes, she's from Maryland. She was born on the Brodus Farm in the Eastern Shore, Cambridge, Maryland. And then she found her liberation. The first stop in liberation when she decided to take her freedom was in Baltimore. Baltimore has a rich history. Frederick Douglass. We
Douglas.
celebrate Frederick Douglass. He was also born in Maryland on the
Yeah.
Eastern Shore, Taylor's Island, and his first stop in Liberation when he
And I'm
decided
so,
to
I'm
take
so
his
glad, by
freedom.
the way, I'm so happy that our first black governor in Maryland is just being elected. I mean, the history in Maryland is so awesome. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Kim. It's just so exciting to
Westmore.
see a lot of stuff going on in Maryland, and we have to keep focused on this positivity. Go ahead, Kim.
Absolutely. Westmore standing on the shoulders of his ancestors, from the Caribbean. He is the embodiment of Marcus Garvey, and we hope that his policy and legislation will mirror that. We'll
Mhm.
see. We'll
Let's
see.
see.
Having that been said, Maryland's rich history is something that we want to show young people is still relevant today, how to survive. And so the first weekend in August, we're taking young people camping outdoors in Baltimore City. The sounds of the city, that's what you hear. There are no waterways, but Maryland is surrounded by water, and our young people don't always know how to swim. They
Right.
are afraid of nature. They don't know how to survive. But Harriet Tubman, in order to find her liberation, she had to live off the land. She had to know the waterways. And so we want to show them how she was relevant and why they need to consider what it takes to survive in their own environment today. She was also a part of a network. It wasn't just Harriet that was on the Underground Railroad. She
Now
had a
you
network.
have to depend on
And
people. Well,
yes. And so the question is, who is your tribe? Who is your network?
mm,
Who is that a part of your vision? Are they serving you or are they holding you back? And what is your goal? And is it collective? Is it communal? Is it just about you or is it selfish? And so we talk about virtues and character development. We talk about nature and how to integrate and be in balance and harmony with nature. And we teach them about those peoples that they should model from our history. And so that's one of the initiatives we're doing in Baltimore. We're also doing the freedom rides across the country. We're going starting in Baltimore through DC, down into Virginia, down into South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and we're going to Alabama and Mississippi and New Orleans and Memphis, Tennessee and Little Rock, Arkansas. We're taking the civil rights movement off the page and we're
mm,
showing the young people how that is still relevant and how that didn't end when it became the Black Power movement and the apartheid movement and the Black Lives Matters movement. All of these social phenomenon are connected. They are our attempt to live healthy and well in this country and around the world. And so the byproduct of that, we reminded the world that we can hold our governments accountable to the
mm.
standards that and the ideals that they project. And Black people taught the world how to do that through our movement. And so we teach that to our young people in Baltimore and around the world. We have delegations coming from Africa this year. The Minister of Tourism and Culture in Nandi County, she's coming and she's going to be a part of that tour. We have a delegation, Ephraim, out of
Well,
Ethiopia.
listen, next time you have that kind of tour, just let me know because we can have more delegation from Africa, though. We have to
Let's do
connect.
it. It's not too
Yeah,
late.
it's not too
Not
late.
too
Let me
late.
pass on the
June.
information. Yeah, I want to be a part of the promotion when it comes to that tour. The more we connect these people, the better the community will be, and that can change minds because that's we're talking about exposure. That's part of it.
Absolutely. Our strength is in our connection. Our liberation is indivisible, and
Right.
we must reunite the global African family. And that means learning each other's history, connecting our narrative. And the Pan African worldview is steeped in our organization's mission. It's inherent to our organization's mission because we understand that I'm just as at home in Ghana with the Ga or the Ashanti as I feel in South Africa with the
Mm,
Zulu Nation and
right.
Sawubona and the Ubuntu there. And the same with Tanzania. We have 4 tours to Tanzania this year with our Thai studies and cultural exchange programming. And so there are many opportunities for cultural immersion and to learn techniques for using art as a tool for social transformation. And so Thai tours is one of the ways for the public to get involved with that. If you're a traditional artist or if you're non-traditional and you understand the importance of artistic development and you want to help bring artists to decision making tables, please reach out to us. Facebook.com/teaching artist, one word. Facebook.com/teaching artist, one word. We want to connect with the people that want to see global
Let me
African
remind the
unity and
viewers as
solidarity.
we are going toward to the end of this program. A lot of this information that you have will be available under the YouTube page and our many Facebook pages, so that nobody should never miss this in terms of how to get in contact with Miss Kim. So just to remind them that all of this information, what is the website, the email, or a phone number, we would like to add that to at the end of this show. Add all of this information in our pages. Yeah, go ahead.
Facebook.com/teaching artist, one word. And shucks, you can always call me 443-739-0941. Again, 443-739-0941. Send me a text. Let me know who you are. We want to connect. We want to be accessible. We want you to know that you can reach out and touch us. We're working in 8 countries around the world, but there's no place like home. I will always work on the home front in Baltimore and the DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and across the United States. We have locations in Ohio and North Carolina. So please let us know how we can connect. We work in intergenerational communication. So we're not just looking for young people, we're looking for our elder class. We have opportunities for you. We don't just throw our elders away. So let us know if you're an elder and you're listening in and you want to work. And then if you're an older, so to speak, it's your turn to work right beside me. And so if you want to use some of your time to help transform the community, if you're a traditional artist or non-traditional artist and you want to be a part of this social movement, we are the rhythm people. Let us know. Let's connect in vibration, and the beat goes on.
Absolutely. Listen, I told you guys, we can stay here all day. Miss Kim, that's a living library when it comes to, whatever she have learned over the last years. It's so important and so refreshing to see a sister that's, grounded. She absolutely amazing. And, like I said, all this information, whether it's the phone numbers or website, whatever, you need to get in touch with this sister. Your life won't be the same, especially young people. Our personal advice, young people, to get in touch and to help her build this community of new warriors, going to the future as strong queens and kings, reclaiming the legacy of Black men on this planet Earth. Miss Cam Poole, soul fusion performance artist. It was a pleasure to talk to you. We look forward to have you again whenever there's something going on. Let me know. Let me know, because we are also, as you can see below this page here, we cover events, special events, what is graduation parties, work and church service, homecomings, baby showers, family reunion, everything that deserve to be, live streaming. And we do that. So, please give us a call or go on our website. All the information will be below the page. Again, ladies and gentlemen, that was Miss Kim Poole, that is giving us knowledge and a lot to reflect on. So we want to thank you again for coming. Look forward to another interesting conversation with you. Please come back whenever something comes up. Let me know, and we will bring you on the program. So you can.
Yes, let's do it. Peace and blessings. Until next time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mama. Thank you. All right. Okay, guys. Thank you for joining us on this program. That was the amazing Kim Paul. That's is doing the right thing all around the world. We hope you like the program today. If you have any questions, comments, please go on our Facebook or YouTube page and just leave us a comment. Tell us whether you like this program and anything that needs to be changed. We're doing this for the community, and we just have to keep on going, pressing on what is positive, so we can continue to impact community. And if you want, if you like what we do, please go ahead and support the program. You know, our cash app is $sign Gain TV Plus. Send us something so we can continue to keep the light on, and that way we will have more people in our organization, and making sure that we always bring substantial people here to give us a knowledge that will definitely help our community move forward. So again, my name is Malik Lenzonzo, and that was again business. And thank you for watching and tuning in. And we'll look forward to have you on a different program going forward. God bless you, and I look forward to speak with you another time. Bye now.